Today we're going to check out the tips that people are sharing on TikTok, and these might be experts. They could have studied finance. Maybe they are just people who are similar to myself, where they have gone through some sort of financial journey, whether that's debt payoff or just learning about finances in general. So now they love finances and they teach about it and document their own journey. This could be anybody. So we will see what we get into. I am a financial coach, but I do not call myself an expert in the financial space. I do know quite a lot about finances. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. Like, there's so much within finances, the little tiny things that I will probably never learn about. It's most of the things that I'm like not interested in, like day trading, or what does this mean on the whatever it may be. There are things that I absolutely do not know related to finance, but the basics of personal finance and like debt payoff especially, I am very passionate about it, so I know quite a lot about it. Many of y'all know I went through my own debt-free journey. I paid off over $82,000 over about 5 years, and from that I have learned so much just by going through it. So experience, but also by listening to various podcasts, by watching YouTube videos, reading blog posts, even talking with my CPA. And then I did start coaching. This started in 2020, and I have learned so much more because of my clients. There's been like new things every few months or so that I'm like, wait, what? I've never heard of that, or I didn't know that, or let me research that because I'm not too familiar with it. So then because of my clients, I am basically forced to learn more and evolve more as personal finance things come up. And then of course, when it comes to personal finance and even teaching about finance, everybody is different, and I have my own thought process, my own opinions, and what I think is best for people may not be what other people think is best. And in general, my approach to finance, my belief is that personal finance is personal. And what I mean by that is that the decisions that you make around finances are up to you and your circumstances, your life, your thoughts, whatever it is that you may be going through, and how you want to approach money. Will I agree with everything that somebody is doing, even if they're my client? No, of course not. But if that's how they want to do it, who am I to force somebody to be like, oh no, absolutely not. You cannot go out to eat whatsoever. I wouldn't have any clients if that was my approach. I would have no clients if I was that strict and I'm like, no, you can't have any fun. You can't travel. You can't do this. You can't do that. It would be unrealistic for literally every single one of them. Anyways, y'all get the point. And of course, if you're interested in working with me, I do have spots open. So you can work with me one-on-one, or you can join my membership, my community on School. That will also be linked down below. It's called Budget and Build. And you can still get live access to me in that membership, by the way. I go live at least 3 times per month, and I'm in that community every day. But let's go ahead and get started with watching these.
I make more money than 90% of the finance bros that you've ever met, so it's time to stop listening to them and start listening to the women on this app who are actually financially fluent and don't own a Patagonia vest. These are 3 niche finance tips that I've incorporated into my life to help me handle my money better. I automate everything, and that includes alerts on my phone to check what's in my bank account. All of my credit card payments, my investments are on auto pay and auto invest. It's not cute to say, oh, I don't even want to look at my balance. It's not cute. Get with it. You can't fix what you...
Hold on, let me finish.
You don't track. I started investing.
Okay, for that first one, it is a good tip, but in my opinion, of course, sorry, I'm not going to say that. I will just be talking. Of course, this is my opinion. So she said to auto pay everything. She's probably in a place where all of her debts are paid off, so she just makes purchases on her credit card and then has auto pay set up to clear those purchases. However, if you are somebody who is actively paying down their debt, be careful with auto payments as far as minimum payments go, because let's say you have like 5 different credit card debts that you're tackling, and maybe you're following the snowball or avalanche, whatever it is, but you're paying the minimums on all of them, or all of them except that one, right? And if you're doing that, of course, with time, your balance is going to decrease, but so is your minimum payment. Your credit cards do this intentionally, and it seems like it's helping you, and it can help free up some cash. But if you started your budget, let's say you started in January tackling your debt, and your minimum payment for each card started at, I'm just going to make it simple, each one was $100. But as time went and your balance decreased, your new minimum payment on all those cards is $50. So instead of putting 100 minimum to each of those cards, you're just doing the 50. And I think it's important to stay at whatever you started at. And sometimes with auto pay, it's going to just keep on decreasing. Hopefully that makes sense. But basically, whatever you're starting your minimum payments at, it should stay at that until the debt is gone. Okay, let's continue.
In stocks, and no, you do not need to know what a stock is to invest in one. You don't need a finance degree, you don't need some guy mansplaining it to you, and you don't need to follow the market. Just pick 3 ETFs, put some money in there, even $50, and you're good to go. Confidence comes from participation, not perfection. Started with really...
Okay, I agree with that to a certain extent. I don't think you fully need to understand investing to get started. I think you should have somewhat of an understanding though. Y'all know I talk about this pretty often in my recent investing videos especially, and that's why I've been creating all that content, because sometimes people go into things not truly understanding it or because they heard something, and I think it is important for you to know and understand what it is that you're putting your money into. This is why I don't buy crypto at this point. I used to, but I decided not to do that because I don't understand it, and I prefer to understand what I'm investing my money in. So if you're like, what the heck is an ETF? Do your research on that first. Don't let it stop you from investing, but just make sure you at least understand the basics of it. And I have videos on this, on what that means and how to invest, etc. So I think it is important to know at least something. Definitely don't let it hold you back from investing, but eventually do some research.
Small financial goal. Your financial goal doesn't have to be, I need to save for a house or my big wedding. It can just be, I'm trying to save for iced coffee 3 times a week and not feel guilty about it. The point is to build the habit of allocating your money with purpose. Start budgeting small. If you do not tell your money where to go, it will go everywhere or nowhere. Financial literacy is not just for men, and it's not just about being rich. It's about control over where your money is. I promise you, it's so hot to be a girly who knows where her finances are, where they're going, where they're invested, than being someone who just doesn't even check their bank account.
Yeah, that's a good tip at the end, to start small. Do something and just start paying attention to your finances. I know it's really scary to confront your numbers and look at those things, but that's where you start, get awareness, and then from there you can start tackling things, make a plan. And usually what ends up happening is so much clarity. I've worked with many clients who come to me who haven't looked at their numbers until I force them to look at their numbers because I need that info so I can help you. And then they're like, oh, I'll be debt free in 2 years if I follow this plan. Or oh, I actually have way more money than I thought I did because I completely forgot I had this brokerage account. Or actually this debt is gone, that type of thing. So just getting over that initial fear around looking at your numbers is huge, and then it does get easier from there.
Apparently the way my boyfriend and I split our finances is controversial, so let's talk about it. So the first big one, I make more money than him now, but we met before my career took off, so this is something new to us, but it doesn't bother us. And for context, I'm 26, he's 29, and we've been dating for 3.5 years and living together for about 2. And we don't have joint accounts, but we do share a credit card. And yes, we have our own credit cards, but we share an Amex Gold. So we put everything like groceries, things for the house, things for our dog on the credit card, essentially things that are for the both of us. And we split the total in half at the end of the month and pay it in full. And at the end of the year, we take the points that we earn on that card and go on a trip somewhere. But if he's taking me on a date, he pays, and vice versa. But if we look at each other and just want to go out to eat, we put it on that credit card. We're also not super strict on splitting everything. Like if we're on a walk and he wants to get coffee randomly, he'll just pay for it. We don't really keep tabs and say, oh, you owe me this. When we talked about moving in together, we first sat down and were completely transparent about money, our savings, our debt, our spending, any financial goals. And we agreed to be debt free before joining any of our accounts. We split rent 50-50. Because I do make more, we've talked about me paying more and he says no. And before you say that's your roommate, not your man, yeah, that's my roommate and my man, because that's exactly what we are. I guess it's controversial, but I don't want to rely on anyone for financial security. So yes, I prefer splitting everything. I didn't grow up with money, and my parents always told me that money is power, so that's what I believe in. But if I went to him and said I want to stop paying rent, he would say okay and figure it out, and so would I. And splitting almost everything is what we agreed on and what we feel comfortable with. Even when it comes to laundry, cooking, groceries, our dog, we meet each other halfway. When I come home from work, dinner is ready, laundry is folded, dog is exercised, anything I ask for is done. The same thing for him. But remember, personal finance is personal, so what works for us might not work for you, but it works for us.
Yep. My thoughts on people handling their finances together, it's irrelevant. Same with when people try to tell me what I'm doing is wrong with my fiance, future husband. Who are you to you're not in the relationship. This is between me and my fiance, just like it is between her and her boyfriend. Now, I do like to give a word of warning for people who are in relationships, they're not yet married, and you decide to co-sign on things. You co-sign on a car. I made that mistake in the past. I will never do it again unless I were married. And it would be for things like a mortgage. That's different. But with a car even, like I probably wouldn't co-sign on a car again. It's just not even, with my fiance, it wouldn't even be necessary, you know? And same goes with anything else. Like if you are not yet married, I wouldn't recommend going into a mortgage together or making any major financial decision together unless there's some sort of protection in place. Just because if something does happen, then you are kind of put in a tough place. It is very stressful. I learned that from experience. But at the same time, if somebody decides to do that in their relationship, I can't control that. That is their relationship. That is their choice. I can give warnings all day. It's just like people tell you not to smoke cigarettes, but people are smoking left and right. So it's the same concept. It sounds like this is working, and I absolutely agree with her with the whole like roommate and boyfriend thing. When I moved in he was my boyfriend at the time. Now we're engaged, but people were saying like, oh, you shouldn't be paying money for his house. Like, what do you mean? How am I going to live somewhere? I'm taking up this whole entire room. I have a whole closet with my clothes in it. I am living here, sleeping here, my food's here, everything's here of mine. My car's in the garage. I can't just live here for free. Like, that's crazy. I've never understood that. There's still some people who are like, why would you be paying for this like, it's a better situation than me paying rent. I could literally leave at any time and not have to break a lease or anything like that. So it was just very odd to me when people were suggesting that, like, I have to pay for living no matter where I go, and this is actually better. But I agree with her. I do think money is power, and having a solid foundation as a woman is very important to me. And you can trust somebody all day long, but I still want to have full strength and power within myself as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't need somebody to be paying for everything for me. That's not the situation I want to be in. If you want that, then sure, but not everybody feels that way. So I love this. As she said, we're comfortable with it, so that's all that matters.
Not to fearmonger, but as somebody who has a pretty good understanding of how the economy works and is chronically reading the news, I'm pretty concerned about where our economy is headed. So I want to share some of the main things I'm doing to prepare for the worst with my finances. The biggest thing I've done is prioritize fully funding my emergency fund. And not only that, but I increased it from 6 months to a year's worth of living expenses. That is what I personally feel the most comfortable with. Now, to be clear, I did not do this overnight. I've been working towards it for a while, but over the last 6 months, I accelerated my progress by scaling back some of my investment contributions so I could put more money towards my emergency fund. I cannot overstate how important emergency funds are. Not only are they going to help you stay afloat if you were to lose your job or have a big unexpected expense come up, but they're going to help prevent you from falling behind financially, even more from having to put everything on credit and rack up really expensive debt, which is going to only compound your financial issues. The next thing I've been doing is how I always live my life, but is even more important now, and that is to live below my means and be very intentional about how I'm spending my money. In times like these where the cost of living is only going up, it's more important than ever to live below your means so you're able to absorb increases in costs that are beyond your control without feeling stretched financially. Our mortgage has gone up almost every year that we've had our house. Our cost of utilities has gone up over 15%. Groceries have obviously gone up, et cetera, et cetera. So this is why it's really important to give yourself wiggle room in your budget. Similar to my emergency fund, my boyfriend and I also increased our house fund. So this is any money needed for repairs, maintenance. We already set aside 2% of our home's value in the savings fund, which is double the standard rule of thumb. But we're looking to increase that closer to 4%, just again to have more cash on hand. If God forbid we both lost our jobs and needed a new roof in the same week, knock on wood. And the last important thing that I'm continuing to do with my money, even in times of economic uncertainty, is donate to organizations that I'm passionate about and I know are doing incredible work. It's really easy during these times to want to hoard my money and keep it all for myself, but I know that I have enough. I know that I have a good safety net established for myself. I need to continue supporting millions and millions of people who are being impacted by what's happening, SNAP benefits ending, skyrocketing healthcare costs, the government shutdown affecting people's ability to get paychecks, et cetera, et cetera. So now is the time to be supporting our communities in any way that we can. Not to fearmonger, but
I love this. I don't have too much to like I wouldn't change anything about this. Is one, what she is doing. So it's just her explaining how she's adjusting her finances with the times that we are currently in, which I agree are, it's just a bit scary. It's very unstable is how it feels, and I just feel unsure about the future and what to expect out of things. And I think being self-employed does accelerate that for sure. But I know with a lot of people who have tech jobs or any jobs at this point, you are facing layoffs. And it's like, am I next? Or when will it be? I do think prioritizing finances should be top priority right now. And as she said at the beginning, like, she doesn't want to create fear in people, but I don't think it's smart to be naive at this point or just ignore what's happening and go and spend like crazy or anything. Like, you've got to tighten up a bit, get out of debt, do whatever it is that you need to do so that you feel secure and can sleep better at night, because finances at this point are just getting a bit more complex and things are getting more expensive. Unless you're in a place where you're like, I am balling right now, I feel good about things, then we're all feeling it. I mean, maybe even people who make a lot of money and have like saved a lot and have no debt, things like that, they may still be feeling it as well. But even as somebody, I'm speaking for myself here and being open about this, I have felt financial stress, especially over the last few months. And it's around the health insurance. It's around, like, I don't really know what to expect. It's around, I'm not making enough money. How can I increase my income? I keep trying all these different things. And I know I'm not alone in that. But yeah, anyways, I think what she's doing is great. Those first two especially, increasing your savings, living below your means. For myself, my emergency fund is almost at 15K, which would get me through like bare bones, probably 4 to 5 months. But also I have income coming from multiple sources. So for me, it would be pretty unlikely for things to just like, you know, if I were working just a 9 to 5 job, for example, and then lost that income, that's different. But I have multiple streams of income. So if I lost one, I still have a couple of others. And even if it were less, I may have to pull from my savings, but there's a nice balance between that. I also like that I've built up a brokerage account over the last few years, because that can kind of act as a second emergency fund, like worst case scenario. So I think that can be helpful too. If you're like, I have quite a bit saved up, I want my money to be invested and take advantage of that, then I would say, you know, do your own research on it. Of course, I think opening a brokerage is helpful, and then investing that money so it can grow a little bit faster, but it could also drop faster too. Just make sure you keep that actual emergency fund that you would live off of if something were to happen. Keep that in like your high yield savings account.
Okay, I may not look like it right now, but in my bank account at 19, I had around $70,000 cash, and this was all worked. Not my mom's money, not my daddy's money, my money. For reference, here are the pictures of me buying my house with that money. Here's some tips for anybody who's wanting to increase their savings. Okay, this first tip may be a little controversial, but it's temporary, okay? It doesn't have to be forever. Have 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs right after I graduated high school. I was 17, and I had 2 jobs, and I'm gonna tell you, those savings stacked up. Because think about it, you're not going outside, you're not outside spending money, because we all know when you go outside, you spend money. So I was just working day by day for like maybe a year and a half or 2, and those savings stacked up quick. Number 2, keep your savings in a high yield savings account, not in a regular bank, please. Right now, I think I have Capital One, which I don't know if I should say that on the internet, but yeah, they give you 3.40%, but you can choose any other bank. I preferred that one because they have like physical stores, and that just makes me feel safe about my money. But there's like other ones that give you higher percentages, and think about it, your money's just sitting there, it's growing while you're working, and it's growing based on the 3%, 4% that they're giving you. You're gonna have that bank account going up. Okay, number 3, have an end goal in mind. Invest it wisely, because there's no point of you doing all this if you're just gonna spend it on temporary items like clothes or a car with a high interest rate. There's no point. That's not gonna make you money. So I had the plan to invest it in a house. So you can invest it in a house because that's an asset. You can also invest it in a business, something that will make you more money. Stocks, long-term stocks, that's another one. Just don't spend it all in something temporary that you're going to regret later on. Like clothes. Clothes fall out of style anyways. So yeah, follow me for more tips. I'll put some more later.
Good for her. 70K in her bank account at 19. That's impressive. I'm going to assume she was probably living with her parents as well. That is definitely a big help because that eliminates $1,000 plus. Usually for a lot of people, it's like $1,700 plus in rent and utilities, which allows you to save a lot of money. I actually moved out by the time I was 19. Actually, for the first 2 years of college, I lived on campus, which did result in more student loan debt. But for the most part, I've been out of my dad's house since the age of 18. And that does set you back a little bit versus like if I look at my fiance, he lived with his parents until he was 26, I think. It was in 2023 that he got this house. And so because of that, he is also a huge saver. So he saved up so much money. But because I was on my own, I did have debt. I did not have as much in savings. And so if you're able to live with your parents and you're okay with that, then I think that is kind of like a cheat code in like your early 20s. Her first tip on working 2 jobs, I think, is good. And I mean, I've always worked a full-time job and then had the side hustles. So it was kind of more flexible. And this could go the same way with like gig work if you want to have something more flexible. For years, even now, I will go and look at like part-time jobs and be like, oh, I could go do that from, like 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. each weekday or work on the weekends. But I never actually moved forward with it when I was paying off my debt, even though it would have helped financially, because to me, my health is priority. And so if I had to work a second job, that would mean me not going to the gym. And that's very important to me. Like, I don't think it's worth even just like a year of sacrificing the gym. And I know that you could go work out at like 10 p.m. after you get off, but how likely is that going to be? I think if you're in a really desperate situation where it's like, okay, if I'm not making an extra $200 this week, I'm going to get evicted. That's different. Like you've got to hustle for some time and make things work. But in a place where I was, where it's like, okay, I am working full time. I'm making some extra money on the side. And then if I were to get a second job, a part-time job, that would take away like another 15, 20 hours of my time. And I'd probably only get to go to the gym like once or twice a week. For me, it wasn't worth it. So that was always my thought process. Everybody's different though. That's obviously very specific to me. I do see in the comments here, somebody said in Italy, you can't have 2 jobs together. Is that true? I didn't know that. That's crazy. You can have as many jobs as you want here. It's actually quite necessary at this point in America. If you don't have a side hustle or if you don't have a second job, then it's just a little bit harder. And yeah, if you don't have your money in a high yield savings account, there are still people. I'll get on a call with the client. I'm like, where's your savings at? And they're like, oh, I just have it in cash. Or, oh, it's just in my checking account. And I'm like, you have $15,000 just in your checking account. I'm like, okay, first thing, you're going to open up a high yield savings account and transfer this. So, okay, let's move on.
Personal finance advice I'd give you as a first-gen wealth builder if I wasn't afraid to hurt your feelings, part 1. Number 1, you need to stop playing victim to your circumstances. No doubt, we all have different starting points, and it can be really frustrating to be starting further behind than a lot of people. But regardless, playing victim and just pitying yourself and kind of getting in that spiral is not going to help you make progress. You have to just feel your feelings and then decide to start where you're at with what you have, with what you can, and take it one step at a time to move forward. I'm not disregarding the fact that there are real systemic issues in place, absolutely, but we can't just disregard where we're starting from and just say like, whatever, it doesn't matter anyway, I'm never going to get any better, or blah, 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 I got to start further ahead than me, so I'm just going to give up. That's not going to help. Feeling the feelings, letting it go, and then deciding to start where you're at is what's going to help make progress. And while you might not be able to see it day to day, and it might take time for those to build up, One day you will look back and you will be grateful that you started when you did. Number 2, you need to start paying attention to your money right now. I don't care where you're starting from as far as income and debt, but you need to intimately know your personal finance situation, how much money's coming in, how much is going out, to understand where you're starting from and what steps you need to take control of that. If you are not paying attention to your money, there is no way to get on top of it and get ahead of it. We all are going to wish we started earlier or younger. That's not going to help. You're never going to be as young as you are today. So just start. Hi, I'm Paige. I'm a first-gen wealth builder sharing my imperfect personal finance journey to help you feel less alone. And I share practical, approachable.
Yeah, love this. Both of those were great tips. I've talked about the both of them before. Yes, I know that things are not set up for us to win here, especially in America. I mean, even all over the world for sure. But that doesn't mean you just complain about it and don't do anything about your situation. You've got to be aware of your numbers. You've got to be like, am I doing this to myself? Am I the one who's spending whatever on clothes or whatever on coffee and food out? Could I improve this? Could I change something? Could I learn about this? Could I try to increase my income? Could I start a side hustle? Like all these different things we do have power over. And the big thing comes down to controlling what you can control. And you might be surprised how much you can control in your life. Great tips. Let's continue.
I'm on track to save $50,000 in 2 years, but that means getting creative with my money. Here's what I do to save where I can. Number 1, I make all of my own drinks at home. Coffee, matcha, protein drink, smoothies. There are so many recipes online that are easily replicable. Once you pay for all of the ingredients, you'll be able to make your drink of choice on your own for months. Number 2, I use my credit cards to pay for everything. With each purchase on your credit card, you gain points. These points can be used for cash back, travel, or gift cards, but please be careful with this. Make sure you're not using it as a crutch and that you're paying off your monthly balance in full. Number 3,
Okay, before I forget everything. So first thing, making your own drinks at home, which I think is great. Honestly, I'm so very grateful that I enjoy black coffee. So I don't have to buy anything like the creamers or anything. I used to. Years ago, I would drink my coffee with creamer every single morning. And I'm like, this has got to be bad for me. I would drink that first thing before even eating food. I'm like, this is just sugar, how I'm starting my day. So that's when I started switching over to black coffee, and I love it. Like, I genuinely enjoy the taste and look forward to the taste of black coffee. It grows on you. I promise you, give it a shot. You've got to get good quality coffee though. Preferably get whole beans and grind them yourself right before making your coffee. See, I already forgot the second one. Oh, using her credit cards for everything, which is also what I do. But if you can't use credit cards responsibly, then don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna let her continue.
cash back, travel, or gift card. But please be careful with this. Make sure you're not using it as a crutch and that you're paying off your monthly balance in full. Number 3, I budget. I use this budget spreadsheet that I made for myself, and I keep track of every single penny. This helps me to see where my money is going and how much I have left to work with until my next paycheck.
And also going back to the credit cards, if you have active credit card debt, you're working on paying it off, I think don't use your credit cards. From working with a bunch of clients who have credit card debt, I've found that it's just best not to use them because it causes too much confusion. And then, yeah, she's budgeting. I do the same. I think that's a great tip. So budgeting, tracking month over month, and just keep it up. I don't know that I'll ever stop unless I was like a multi-millionaire.
Hi guys, welcome back to Finance Friday, except it is not Friday, it's Monday, and I'm recording this on Sunday. I'm here to tell you why I haven't been making Finance Fridays, and I'm talking about my finances. Today's topic includes how I'm going to grind my ass off this month and try and make as much money as possible because I haven't been making money, and I'm going to give myself until December to start making money from like social media again. And if not, then I might have to retire, keep it on the back burner, and work a full-time job again, which is fine. That's fine for me. I'm not opposed to doing that, but it wouldn't be fair to myself if I didn't give it one last shot. So to kick this off, I'm going to go over the TikTok money that I've made, just like the rewards based off of views. The best month I've ever had was last May, and I made $4,302.70. And from there it declined. So after that, I averaged between like $2,600 for the other months. Some were less very few or more, right? Then we get to 2025. And I realized starting in like May of 2025, I wasn't making money like I used to. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was so used to making money for like over a year at this point, right? But I was still making like maybe $1,500. And then the 1,500 went down to 1,000 in like September. And then for October, those views, right, that you get paid on the 15th of November, I am getting paid out $491. And that is the least amount of money I've ever made. And now it's confirmed that TikTok is changing because of whatever's happening, the sale, whatever's going on. And they changed the creator fund completely. I know anybody in the creator fund got that screenshot in the morning the other day that said things are changing around here and your views are only counting if they're in these countries. And I only post TikTok shop videos if I'm obsessed with a product. So those are I'm just going to spam that account. So if you want to see it, follow. If not, I'm sorry. But I'm giving myself a goal. In my head, I was like, I want to make $10,000 this month. But I know that goal is crazy. I don't know if it's attainable because I've had $10,000 months in the past, including everything, like all of my sources of income. Do I want to make my goal that big? I probably should. My crazy goal is $10,000 for the month of November. My no disappointed goal is going to be $5,000. So I want to hit at least $5,000, but my main goal, I'm striving for 10. Am I crazy? Absolutely. So that's the finances that I'm going through. But also I want to make a point that if you are a creator, I feel like now more than ever, it's the hardest time to be a creator. But also I think it's like the best time in a sense where it does not matter how many followers you have, okay? The creator rewards program is absolute garbage, okay? Your videos are being pushed out because of the quality of content and the topic of it. It's no longer about followers. And it is what it is, but I'm just gonna see what I'm capable of, and then I'm gonna decide what path I'm gonna take. So even though we are over a week into November, I'm hauling ass. Love you guys. I'll be back with like actual finance tips once I have advice to give.
This is Marie. She was in one of the debt payoff videos, one of the TikTok videos. I love her accent. And I kept this in here because, one, I was interested in it. I like how she talks and I just think she's entertaining, just how she speaks. But this is something that even myself, I have experienced. And I know that some people don't think content creation is a real job or this, that, and the other. That's fine. And I also think people see numbers, they see followers and equate that to money. Content creation, just because you have a huge amount of followers or a lot of views, it does not necessarily mean that you are making a lot of money. I resonate with this because right now I'm in this season of like hustle, and it's it's genuinely exhausting. Like this past week, yesterday, Sunday, I was supposed to get a video up, a long form video. I got a short form video up, but I feel really guilty about not getting it up. And I started the day and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna film, I'm gonna edit, just get this over with. But I was like, I'm not in the headspace to do this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to force it. It's also probably not going to equate to that much money. But you guys can see I am posting 3 videos a week on this YouTube channel, and I make about $2,000 in the month. That's a lot of content. And sure, I could change my strategy, do this, that, and the other, but it's not even guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. So content creation is not easy, and striving to do this as a full-time job, I think it's great. Like it's a great goal, but I do think you've got to add some variety in there. It sounds like she's just been relying on TikTok, which TikTok is really weird. First of all, I've been trying to grow my following on TikTok so I can get monetized on there. Being in the finance space is better on TikTok. Anything like educational, they pay you more for it, but you have to have 10,000 followers. I'm at like 1,100. It's been so hard. I've been posting almost daily and nobody follows. So in general, I do think YouTube is ideal. Like I prefer YouTube over TikTok, and I think it is more stable, I suppose, compared to these other ones. Like they keep things pretty consistent, but even with YouTube, it can be challenging. But by me mixing in like having a membership, having coaching, having digital products, all of these things help. So I'm not just relying on content creation. Like I'm a content creator, but more so I'm a financial coach. So for her, she just needs to diversify and not just focus on TikTok. She can probably find other sponsorships. She can probably do more affiliate things in her space, and then also start on YouTube and create content there. But I really resonate with this. Like it can be hard to see your income dropping and like setting these big goals, and you're like 10K is what I've dreamed of hitting 10K. I still haven't hit 10K in a month just from content creation, and maybe I can do that in December, but I've kind of stopped setting financial goals because it sucks to not hit them. Or not financial goals, income goals. But I may go back to it, and I'm glad I watched this. I already follow her, so I'll have to go to her page and see what else she's been up to. Okay, let's do a couple more.
Welcome to my very boring ways of how I save money. Number one, I only go to one grocery store. I am avoiding Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Costco. Sorry to say, we have a family of 2. When I go into Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, I constantly am finding that I'm not getting everything that I need, so I have to go somewhere else, which is essentially just wasting money. There's no rewards programs with Trader Joe's. And with Costco, I don't really have a lot that I need to buy in bulk. I can't leave there without spending $300 to $500, and that's just not an affordable option for us. I'm always grabbing something that I don't need there. Next up, another one was shopping. I am not stepping foot in a HomeGoods, TJ Maxx, or Marshalls. The moment you go into those stores, you're buying something that you don't need. Next tip, I live in Michigan. I return cans. I don't know any of my other friends that really do that. I get like $25 to $50 back, and I put it right on my grocery bill. I have always found it to be worth it. I don't really care to get dirty. I have rubber gloves I put on. It helps. I can touch on this on another.
Okay, going to her first tip with going to one grocery store, I agree with that. I think hopping around one Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, I don't live by those. I think we're getting a Sprouts in our city. I really hope so. I love Sprouts. I do love Sprouts. So if that comes, I will shop there, but probably not primarily because you can't get the staple items for an affordable price, like rice or beans or, like just staple items. It's more expensive at those little premium stores. My fiance shops at Walmart. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Walmart, but I hate to say it. I went with him the other day to do my grocery trip, and I was like, whoa, this was so cheap. This was so affordable. But cheap doesn't necessarily mean better, I did still buy organic even. I got the organic produce that I could at Walmart, and I got like a whole week for $55. I was impressed. But I don't love the experience. I go to Kroger primarily, then sometimes I'll go to like Publix because I'm like, I just need better vibes around me. I need like cleaner environment. But I mostly go to Kroger because then I get my 5% cash back as well on groceries, and then actually 6%, and then I get my Kroger fuel points, so I save money on gas, and Kroger is pretty reasonably priced. So. And then I never go to those stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls. Like, yeah, just don't go shopping. Don't go to Target even if you can't resist it. Don't go shopping. I actually find those stores super overwhelming. If I do go to them, it's because I am looking for like a dog toy because they have good prices. Like at Ross for dog toys. And then what was her third thing? Oh, the cans. This is I was just talking to my mom last night about how of all the clients I've worked with, bulk of them have lived in Michigan. I've had so many clients in Michigan. So y'all can donate or y'all can recycle cans and other things and get paid for it, which I am so jealous of because if that was an option here, I would absolutely take advantage of it. We have cans and bottles all the time, and we can't even recycle where we're at. They don't come to the neighborhood. Like it's not an option. It's unfortunate. We could take it to like a center, but they're not going to pay us. If you have the option to get paid for recycling, every little bit helps, and I think that is great. A great thing to do. Okay, one more.
Popular opinion, but I'm not frugal and I don't plan on being frugal. I still maintain structure, boundaries, and literacy with my money. I just don't believe financial discipline has to mean deprivation. So here's 6 ways I'm not frugal, but still keep my finances in check. I use AI as my personal budget tool and assistant. I drop my income, my taxes, my spending, my goals into something like Google Gemini and literally ask how many iced lattes can I afford this week while still maintaining my goal to buy a house in 5 years. $8 latte, $20 candles, $60 nail appointment. I build those things into my budget to make sure they're not splurges. They're part of the lifestyle that I live and work for. I monetize my time, which means I spend money on convenience, not chaos. If something saves me time or mental energy, meal delivery, dry cleaning, grocery pickup, my time is worth money too. I have a fun
So I'm going to pause because I'm going to forget things. So I also don't consider myself super frugal. That's why I'm often not creating content on frugality, because I'm not somebody who practices it. So I just don't see why I would make content around it. AI can be a great tool for, figuring out what you need to do. That's very specific. Like, how many lattes can I afford each month in order to still hit my goal? I have used ChatGPT for I want to become a millionaire by 40. How do I make that happen with these investments, with these starting balances? It's kind of fun to go through it. Maybe I'll make short form content around that. Also, I've used AI for okay, if I want to increase my income to 150,000 in the year, what do I need to do in coaching, in YouTube, in this, in that? It's really cool, and it helps some creative thoughts flowing if you need help with that, or even just ideas. Build your wants into your budget for sure. I do that myself. If I have personal spending, I do budget for that. Sometimes I go over budget, but I make sure to create an annual budget because I do spend money on myself. And yeah, for people who, I don't like to get my nails done or things like that, but other people do, and that's fine. So you can fit that into your budget, into your spending, but that means you are going to sacrifice other things. So is it worth it to you? Then that's fair. That's exactly what I work through with my clients. But for myself, I don't find a lot of those things worth it. It's just personal preference, of course, but I absolutely spend on wants. I'll buy books, I will travel, I will buy workout clothes. Third thing, spending money to save on time. I do this for certain things, but honestly, when I think about it, yes, I get paid for my time by working with clients or creating content, but would I be using, let's say I wanted to go and order a bowl from Chipotle, right? Would I use that specific 20-minute block, the time it would take me to go and pick up my order? Would I be using that time productively and making money? Probably not. Spending an extra $10 on delivery isn't worth it to me to save time. And I think that's the case for most people. You're probably not making use of every single minute of your time. I also don't like to pay for grocery delivery or grocery pickup because, one, I prefer to pick out my produce especially. But at this point in my life, spending an extra $10 to $20 on those conveniences are not worth it to me. I would rather use some of my time to save money. If I got to a point where I was making much more money, sure, I would absolutely love to free up that time and just have somebody pick up my food, cook my food for me at that. If I got really wealthy, I would absolutely have a chef and they would be making my meals, at least for the week. I would also hire a cleaner, but am I going to pay somebody to do my laundry right now? No, I'm not. But this is fine. If she wants to do that and she can, then by all means. Okay, let's go jump forward.
Old Navy haul. Those things are budgeted. You get to say yes. Concerts, weekend getaways, Old Navy haul. Those things.
So she was saying that for fun money, she creates a sinking fund for that, I'm pretty sure. She sets money aside, yeah. So, and I think that's a good thing to do. A lot of people I've spoken with, they feel guilty about spending money, and so they just don't. But then it leads to burnout or just feeling unsatisfied with life. So creating a separate sinking fund, a savings account for that fun spending or guilt-free spending is kind of the sweet spot for that.
You get to say yes without the guilt. I don't always agree with the buy it nice, buy it twice thing. I don't always buy quality. Sometimes I choose quantity. Look at the tag on the shirt, see how it's meant to be washed, and make sure that I just take care of my stuff. I set daily alerts on my phone to check what.
I agree with that one too. There are several pieces of clothing that I have bought for cheap, and they have lasted me years and years and years. And if I'm buying clothes, it's usually workout clothes. And this top was a little bit more expensive, but I have some from Amazon that were $20. I wear them every week, or it's usually every other week. They're great. They have lasted, I wash them, but I lay them out. I don't dry them because those types of clothes you shouldn't put into the dryer. So if you take care of your things, even if they're cheap, I have old clothes from H&M, which I don't really shop there anymore, but you know, it's like fast fashion and the quality isn't that great, but those things are still fine, even though it was like a $10 shirt or whatever it was, because you just take care of it. I don't know what people are doing with their clothes. Sure, there can be some things that it's better to buy high quality, but to me, it's not always worth it because it's like, how often am I going to wear this? And do I really want to spend $100 on a shirt? No, probably, probably not.
In my bank account, I don't check it any other time outside of that alert so I can avoid being obsessive. It helps me feel in control of my money, but not restricted. So no, I'm not frugal. I am.
That last tip, I kind of do the same. If my account gets below a certain balance, I have it send a notification to me, a text message to me as well. Lately I have set up my finances within the Lunch Money app, and which I have an affiliate link. If you're interested in a great budgeting app, I highly recommend Lunch Money. More to come on this because I'm getting like certified with them. That also allows for all of your assets to be saved in there. So I can see all of my balances in my checking accounts and my savings accounts, all of my credit cards. I can see it all in one place. So if I don't want to log into each individual account to check balances, I don't think all of them allow for balance alerts. Maybe they do. I don't have that set up completely. But if I'm curious, I don't want to log into each one, then I will go into the Lunch Money app and I can see it all in one place, which is really nice because it updates in real time. So yeah, I'm going to stop there. That was fun. And as you can see, for the most part, with everybody posting this content, I agree with it, or there's just small differences, but for the most part, people are doing what works best for them, and that's really important. I think if you're in a place with your finances where things are not progressing or you don't really feel sure about things, then sure, you can start listening to other people and do kind of figure out what works best for you. That may take some time, but a lot of the content that is on the internet is good content, like financial tips. These are great. And if you don't agree with something or it doesn't resonate with you, then that's fine. Let that person do what they want to do. Hopefully it's not anything major and they're not, there's sometimes people have hundreds of thousands of followers and they're like preaching these different things. But if you come across content like that, then it's like, all right, it doesn't resonate with me. I don't want to listen to that. Maybe you're not going to follow that person and you can find what does work best for you. But those are my thoughts. And I think everybody here shared some great tips. Everybody will be linked in my description box. Let me know if you have any questions. If you need some help with your finances, book a one-on-one session. But otherwise, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.